In this video, I'm sharing 3 tips for effectively managing the mental load. Hi there, I'm Dr. Katie, a clinical psychologist who works with high-performing couples who are looking to build a life and relationship they love. Carrying the mental load is exhausting, and as a clinical psychologist, I know the toll this can take on your emotional, physical, and relational well-being. And here's the unfortunate reality. When you're struggling and looking for support, you may receive messages that actually reinforce unhelpful beliefs about carrying the mental load, even if they're well-intentioned. For example, when you're feeling stressed about the faces you challenge as a woman, who do you look to for support? Other women, right? It may be a friend that validates that you are not alone, which is really good to hear and super helpful. But after you apply that message through your high-achieving self-sacrifice filter, your takeaway is that every other woman is experiencing the same thing as you. So surely you've just got to push through it, right? Wrong. Or maybe it's a social media post that you come across telling you, you've got this. Okay, kind of motivating and helpful. But here's the reality. As you filter that message, you start thinking, yeah, actually I do have this. I can manage it all. There's no one in my life that can do it better than me, more efficiently than me, more effectively than me. So you start to think to yourself, maybe I should just push through. Ignore those feelings of tiredness, overwhelm, or maybe even exhaustion. All I need to do is keep going, right? Wrong. Because here's the reality. You're watching this video because you're a highly capable individual. You're already managing it all. You're absolutely crushing it. Sure, maybe there's moments where occasionally you do drop the ball. And in those moments, self-doubt creeps in and you have thoughts like, maybe you're not a good enough partner, mother, employee, business owner, friend. But you face those moments with resolve to be more organized, more on top of it, and you get on with it. Okay, you get the picture. You are amazing. You are an incredibly capable human being. And the reality is, I have no doubt in my mind that you can push through the feelings of being overwhelmed, overtired, overstimulated, overworked, or overstressed. But as a clinical psychologist, here's the thing I need you to hear. You can do it all, but you shouldn't. I know that will take a moment to sink in, so I'm going to say it again. You are incredible, and you can do it all, but you shouldn't. You are too important, too invaluable to those around you to keep pushing through. Why? Because if you continue to push through, it's inevitable that you will face burnout, relationship breakdown, and negative physical, mental, and career outcomes. I'm going to be real with you because I know what you're thinking because I've had these same thoughts myself. I'm tired, but I know I can push through. I know I can keep going. And the reality is, it may not be in the near future. It may not even be months away. It may not even be years away. It may be a decade away, but it's inevitable. That pushing through, doing it all, takes a toll, whether that toll be immediate or eventual. No one can escape the cognitive, physical, and emotional impacts of doing it all. Even you. So how do we change this? Sure, I could sit here and highlight all of the societal things that we need to shift, and that is important. But here's the thing, after working for more than a decade in systemic change, I realized the most powerful agent of change is you. This is why I created this channel. And in spending the last decade working with high-performing women just like you, I know that you're solution focused. I want to give you the resources you can implement for immediate change so that you can get your needs met now, not have to wait till society shifts, because let's be real, that's going to take some time and you deserve better than that. But before we jump into the 3 tips that you need to know to effectively manage the mental load, I want to do a deeper dive into what the mental load actually is. There are still many misconceptions out there, and until you fully grasp the concept, it's impossible to take effective action. One positive outcome of the COVID-19 pandemic was a greater awareness of task division in households. However, even though the mental load is more widely discussed now, it's still often misunderstood. So let's break it down. In research, the mental load is defined as two types of labor: emotional labor and cognitive labor. As a couples therapist, I've noticed that couples often get gridlocked on this issue because of their different understandings of what the mental load entails. While I'm not a fan of generalizations, the research suggests that in most households, women carry the majority of the mental load. Understanding gender differences can lead to greater awareness and change. However, it's important to acknowledge that in some households, men can also carry the majority of the mental load and experience similar negative consequences as women do. Having said all that, in my experience, where there is a woman in the household carrying the majority of the mental load, the male partner may struggle to understand what the mental load is. And I want to be clear, this isn't because they don't care about their partners or they're attempting to avoid their share of the work. They simply don't recognize the invisible tasks that their partner is completing. Often men focus in on the practical tasks of the household, overlooking the mental and cognitive aspects. To understand this more clearly, let's consider some examples of emotional and cognitive tasks. Emotional labor tasks may include managing family relationships, remembering and planning for special occasions, and providing emotional support to family members. Cognitive labor tasks may include meal planning and grocery list creation, scheduling appointments and managing the family calendar, and organising and delegating household chores. Another often hidden element of the mental load is the cognitive and emotional aspect of practical tasks. Let's consider an example of renovating a child's bedroom. Let's say your partner is handling the practical tasks like painting and assembling furniture. There are hidden emotional or cognitive tasks associated with this that you may be managing. For example, some of the emotional tasks may include creating a bedroom where your child feels safe and ensuring the room is physically safe for your child. Some of the cognitive tasks may include researching the right colours for child development, reading up on sleep patterns and how to optimise the room for better sleep, and anticipating your child's future needs as they grow. After the room is complete, you may express how overwhelming the renovation was for you, only to hear your partner say, "But I did all the painting and put all the furniture together." In this moment, you may feel angry, unappreciated, or at a complete loss as to how your partner cannot see the work that you are doing. Even if you raise some of these tasks, your partner may struggle to fully appreciate the energy and time you've invested. In my years of experience working with couples, I've seen this time and time again. However, when you're able to communicate effectively, your partner will be able to develop a deeper understanding of your perspective. Why don't our partners fully understand our feelings around the mental load? There may be many reasons. For example, we might be sending mixed messages, or we may even criticize their efforts, saying things like, "You're not doing it right, just let me do it." This leaves them feeling confused and unaware of our true feelings. Being able to understand and acknowledge the mental load is crucial to reducing resentment and maintaining a balanced and healthy relationship. Now that we understand what the mental load is, how do we effectively manage it? The key is making the invisible visible. Here are the 3 steps you need to effectively manage the mental load in your relationship. Step 1, understanding the mental load. First, let's talk about creating the right context for communication. Choose the right time and place for this conversation. If you're watching this, it's probably because you've been carrying the mental load for some time. So it makes sense that you may be feeling unappreciated, overwhelmed, or even exhausted. I totally get it. But here's the thing, your partner may not even realize what you're feeling. They may be completely unaware of how heavy that mental load is and all the invisible tasks you're doing. So how do you approach this conversation without blindsiding them? First, let your partner know that you're struggling with the mental load and you want to create some time to talk about it. Choose a time when you can both sit down without distractions. It's important that both of you are in the right mental space for the conversation. Giving your partner the heads up allows them to mentally and emotionally prepare for the conversation. It's also really important that you prepare yourself to talk about this. The reality is this conversation may be challenging, and coming to it in an emotionally regulated state is key to promoting understanding. If you're feeling stressed, frustrated, or anxious, which is totally understandable, try some calming techniques beforehand. It may be helpful to use a deep breathing exercise or meditation or some other tool to help you regulate your emotions and prepare for the conversation. Next, it's time to listen to each other, remembering that your partner may not fully grasp the concept of the mental load yet. Explain that it involves the often invisible tasks and responsibilities of managing a household, family, and life. It's helpful to explain that there are 3 different types of household tasks: physical, cognitive, and emotional. Share specific examples from your life so that it makes sense to your partner. It's important that you don't just talk about the tasks, but that you share how you're feeling so your partner can understand the impact on you. For instance, you might say, I feel overwhelmed with all of the planning and little things I need to manage every week. Sometimes I don't even know how I can get it all done. I feel really alone and stressed. Then make sure you invite your partner to share their perspective on the mental load. You may be surprised what they have to say. Step 2, create an action plan. Once you've made the invisible work visible, work together to create an action plan. In doing this, you're both acknowledging that sharing the mental load is a joint effort. This might involve delegating tasks, outsourcing where you can, and setting clear expectations. But before we jump into action, we need to understand the full extent of the problem. Start by creating a complete list of all the household tasks. Create 3 separate columns: practical, cognitive, and emotional. Whenever you write a task, I want you to consider whether there is also a load aspect in one of the other columns. For example, if it's a practical task, is there a cognitive or emotional aspect to this task? If so, write it down. Note down the time each task takes. Okay, so how do you complete this list? Every couple is different, so I suggest that you take the time to think about what will work best for you and your partner. It may be doing the list together, it may be taking some time to complete your own list separately and then coming back together. The key here is that you want both parties' efforts to be recognized. If you skipped step 1, understanding, and you went off and you created a complete list of all the tasks that you do in the household and presented this to your partner, you may be met with defensiveness, and this creates a missed opportunity for connection. So why does this happen? Because from your partner's perspective, when you present a list of everything that you're doing without recognizing what they're contributing, they may feel under attack, misunderstood, or unappreciated. They may become flooded with emotion and slip into reactive communication, maybe becoming defensive. When this happens, they are no longer listening to you because their mind is stuck thinking, you haven't acknowledged anything I do. You haven't even recognized that I do this and that, and so on. Understanding both partners' experience in step 1 and recognizing the tasks that both of you complete in the household is really important to deepening understanding. Once you've fully understood all of the tasks in the household, you're ready to complete an action plan. This might involve delegating tasks, outsourcing where possible, and setting clear expectations. It's important to develop your action plan considering the context of your life. It may not be 50-50, and that's absolutely okay if that works for you. For example, maybe only one of you works outside the home, or one partner travels for work, or it may be that one of you have a health condition that make particular tasks difficult. There are many reasons why one partner might have more time to complete household tasks and why some tasks are easier for one partner than the other. The key here is to play to your strengths. Think about which tasks you enjoy, which you're more efficient at, and what tasks work better for you. For example, you may find that you're super efficient at gardening tasks, but you absolutely hate it, whereas your partner takes a little bit longer, but they actually enjoy doing the gardening. So he takes this one, remembering that life isn't all about efficiency, it's about enjoying it. And being overly focused on efficiency and productivity is one of the traps that women fall into with the mental load. Thinking you can complete the task quicker or in a more efficient way, so you should be the one to complete the task. This is where you head down a path of burnout and relationship resentment. So take the time to consider each task and who is best suited to complete it. Then get super practical and action focused. Discuss practical strategies like setting up a shared calendar or setting regular check-ins so that both partners feel involved and supported. Tip 3, regular check-ins and adjustments. Managing the mental load isn't a one-off, simple, quick fix. It requires ongoing reflection, communication, and adjustment. Schedule regular check-ins with your partner to discuss how the new system is working, perhaps monthly at first, then quarterly as you find your rhythm. Remember, it's not just about dividing tasks, it's also about feeling seen, understood, and supported in your relationship. During these check-ins, discuss how the current division of labor is working or not working for you, any tasks that have become particularly stressful or time-consuming, any new tasks that have arisen, and ways to support each other better. It's important that you remain open to making adjustments. What works for you now may not work for you in 6 months or 1 year from now. The key is to maintain open communication and a willingness to adapt. Also use these check-ins to celebrate success. Acknowledge the progress that you have made and the positive impact that it's having on your individual well-being and also in your relationship. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. There will be hiccups along the way, and that's okay. The goal here is to create a more balanced and fulfilling life for both partners. So let's recap our 3 steps for managing the mental load. Firstly, understanding the mental load. Secondly, creating an action plan. And thirdly, regular check-ins and adjustments. By implementing these 3 comprehensive tips, you can start to lighten your mental load and create a more balanced, fulfilling relationship. It takes time and effort, but the results are worth it. If you found this video helpful, subscribe for more relationship insights. And if you're ready to take your relationship to the next level, check out the link below for more information on my couples retreats or my online relationship reset bootcamp. I'd love to hear more about your experience managing the mental load in your relationship in the comments below. What strategies have worked for you? What challenges you've faced? Your insights could help other women experiencing similar challenges in their life and relationships.